Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for episode 6 of Dark Fun in the Dark Sun, also known as the one where I think we meet the last of the characters. I actually think the person that played Bardock is going to roll a third character as well, so there should be one more character to meet, but after today we'll have the majority of them. In completely opposite fashion from what we've been trending towards lately, we actually had a short table. We only had 4 players at the table, but conveniently 2 of them need to roll up characters. So first of all, the person who played Dono and also Eighth Wonder, one of the Largeson brothers, rolled up a male dwarf named Dusky Court. He is, like everyone else, 8th level, and he's a rogue, which is kind of nice because Sal is the only rogue that we have currently, or at least that we had until he rolled up this character. He took the Mastermind archetype, which I'm not really sure what that's about, but I'm sure we will find out, and his background is Urchin. And then next, and possibly the most fun character ever, is the character being played by the person who played Vashti and played Kadan. If you remember at the end of the Freedom campaign, little Jenny and her friend Urgos became nobles. Urgos took the name Regal. Well, I think you can see where I'm going with this. The character that was playing Kadan was playing as Regal / Urgos in those situations and has decided to roll up stats for Regal. So we actually have Regal, whose main motivation in life is to find his son Henron, who isn't actually his son, but it's pretty awesome. And if you remember something which is like super hilarious, in that secret meeting that we had that said that we'd make Tithian king, one of the conditions was that Tithian would help find Henron. So I'm sure this is gonna go well. So if you remember, Regal is a half giant. He took 5 levels of barbarian and 3 levels of rogue. So it's kind of nice for me because it's my first chance to see someone multi-class, because I was going to multi-class Raylin, but then I didn't. The archetype that he took for barbarian is berserker and scout for rogue. And the background is noble, but it's from like the Waterdeep nobles, and his main focus is his family, which really makes sense with his character because he is just very much into finding his son. And so with that, we potentially have all the characters laid out, although like I said, I think the person who played Bardock is going to roll up a 3rd character, so I will introduce you to them as soon as I meet them. But for this session, who we had at the table was Salantithius, Raylin, and Sage, who are all played by me, Nibbles, Little Jenny, and Kilbig, who are all played by the same person, Vashti, Kadan, and Regal, who are all played by the same person, and Dono, Eighth Wonder, and Dusky, who are all played by the same person. Are you confused yet? I feel like it's starting to get a little more clear. So basically last session we found out that the Sorcerer King in Urik was sending an army towards Tyr, and we decided we wanted to do something about that. And if you're not really sure what's going on, you can definitely check out the link for the playlist right here, and you can go through all the Dark Fun in the Dark Sun videos. But when we started this session, Rickus was waiting for us at House Largesten because he wanted to talk to Kadan, because if you remember, they trained in the gladiator pits together. Basically, the gladiators are kind of being gladiators. They're being hot-headed. They just want to take action. And so Rickus wants Kadan to help focus them to make sure they don't do something stupid. So Sage, Kadan, Little Jenny, and Dusky all go to the gladiator arena where they still hang out, and their plan is to convince them to start training people to be a part of the army. But their argument is that they should just be out there beating people up right now and marching to face the army. So we need to convince them that this is a stupid idea and they'll just all die. The guy who's kind of taken over the gladiators' name is Quick Windsor, and he remembers Kadan, so he respects him enough to listen to him. Dusky, meanwhile, is like analyzing him and goes, he's favoring his left leg. I think he has an injury. Sage tries to start something, but she's not the greatest at fighting yet. I don't know her very well, and it just ends up punching Charles, which is totally fine because we're friends, and he's just like, hey, what are you doing? But we're good. But then Dusky starts something with Quick Windsor, and we get into a fight, but we manage to take Quick Windsor out, and then we gain the respect of the rest of the gladiators. So they listen to us, as you know they should, and now they're on our side, which is awesome. So they will start to train and recruit people from around the city. Next up, there's a council meeting. It was decided that Eighth Wonder would have run to represent the dispossessed, which is hilarious because now we have 3 Largeson brothers on that council, and also that Regal would have run to represent the nobles because he really wants to find his son, and he figures that this is the way to do it. So the 2 of them, Salantithius and Nibbles, head to the council meeting where the topic of discussion is the army. As it turns out, Senator Turix is just unwilling to send troops because he thinks that there was some shady business that put King Tithian in his position, and he's pretty sure that the Veiled Alliance were involved. And unfortunately, the Veiled Alliance is still pretty illegal because we haven't passed a law to stop that yet. So there's a lot of yelling, and Tithien calls the four of us back to his chamber and says, listen, can you lead an investigation and figure out someone to blame for this? Because we need to continue on, we need these troops, and we also don't want to implicate the Veiled Alliance. So we're like, I guess so, and Aegis afterwards lets us know that everybody knows it's gonna be a sham investigation and that we had better watch our backs. So that's fun. Next, Dono, Raylan, Kilbig, and Vashti are all hanging out, and they go to the market, and they find that there's like this evangelical-like speaker who is like, what are you doing? Don't fight the Sorcerer King that's coming to save you. He's going to make you free. And we're like, how's that gonna happen? And so Vashti casts invisibility on herself and she starts to make her way around because she's gonna grab this guy. But Dono manages to speak powerfully enough that all the crowd turns away from him and kind of pays more attention to us. And by the end of it, the soapbox preacher has nobody on his side. But we kind of want to figure out where he came from. So Vashti grabs him, Kilbig like runs interference, and we take him to the ruins of Baladin's house, which is like our place now, because we're gonna interrogate him. We get there and he doesn't want to talk. So Vashti takes out her nice rusty guillotine that she had ripped out of the faux ziggurat when we were fighting Cinder and threatens this guy with it. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna tell you. So Vashti just cuts off his arm. She was not playing around. And so once he lost his arm, he was willing to spill the information about how he was in a sleeper cell and they're just waiting until the time was right. He also told us that he was working for this guy named Purim, who was a human scion, and that we could find him in the Warrens at night. So we have somewhere to go now. Because he gave us the information we were looking for, we healed up his wounds so that he wouldn't bleed out and we let him go. But we did steal his boots and this magical looking ring that he had on his hand. Turns out that the boots are of striding and springing, so it gives someone 30 feet of movement, and you can jump 3 times the normal distance, so that's pretty awesome. And the ring, even better, was a ring of spell storing, and it even already had a spell on it, which is Flame Strike, so that's pretty awesome, so we're definitely going to get good use out of that. It's actually perfect because we do have a Templar that lost his spells, Shoji, so we're gonna give it to him so then he can still cast spells occasionally at least. That night, back at House Largston, there's a knock at the door, and Hasseval, the Templar, you know, like the beady-eyed one that everybody hates, came by because he definitely wanted to bribe us, and he was lucky that Shoji wasn't around because Shoji does not like him. But he just wanted to influence our decision on the investigation that we're doing and said that, you know, maybe Sten, who was one of the generals for the army appointed by Tithien, maybe he was involved with the Veiled Alliance and killing King Kalik. Just think about it. He's like, I got something for you. And so he gives us a steel short sword. So Dusky now has a metal weapon, which is super awesome. And then he leaves, and another knock on the door, and it's Senator Turex. And he also brings a steel short sword. And it's just because he wants to make sure that the investigation goes the right way. So now Regal also has a metal weapon. This is working out really well for us, and we're like, maybe if we just delay our investigation for a couple days, we'll just get kitted out completely with metal weapons. But that seems kind of wrong. I don't know. Anyways, that's where we end the session for the night. Hopefully next session we'll have a couple more people and hopefully it won't be confusing with all those people. If you did enjoy this quick little update, make sure you do hit that like button and also subscribe so you'll know when the next one comes out. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.